Non-conference play is in the books as the Tigers begin their CAA campaign. Today we'll preview the Tigers game against the Drexel Dragons. Get ready, fans. The Tiger Lacrosse Report starts now. Hello again, fans, and welcome back to the Tiger Lacrosse Report. I'm your host, Ben Rosenbaum. Towson now gearing up for CAA play as they head up to Philadelphia to take on the Drexel Dragons. As always, I'm joined by head coach Sonia LaMonica. And Coach, it's that time of year again. We're into the CAA. How does the mindset have to shift now? You're ranked top 10 in the country, and now you go into a very competitive conference.
I don't think it shifts too much from what we've been sort of preaching from the beginning. We've got to go one game at a time, just like we've seen some teams this season that, could have stolen a loss for us if we were not on our game. We got to have that same mentality going into our conference play here, no matter who we play. We got to be ready to basically execute when push comes to shove. So, that'll continue to be the message. But there's we're halfway through the season too. So I think it's also about, really appreciating every moment. You get a sense of how quickly the season goes around this time of year, as we're hopefully starting to get into some nicer weather. And and before we know it, the season's going to be over. So we just want to make the most of every moment, of every opportunity that we get. And that continues to be the message for our players.
Drexel's off to a slow start this year, 3-7, but if you look down their schedule, they've been in some games and it's been against some good teams. So the record is a little deceiving, and you've got to be prepared for a team that you just mentioned. They're very hungry, especially now in CAA play.
And our history with Drexel has been a little deceiving too. I think we've seen all sorts of outcomes. We've had some real battles with Drexel in the past, and we've had some that have sort of gone the other way, been more convincing wins. So we're always ready for anything, particularly with the Dragons. So we'll be going to their place, and a good chance again for us to, challenge us and, to make sure that each game is preparing us for what's ahead. So we're going to use it to our advantage and make the most of our opportunities.
Colleen Grady is their leader with 41 points on the season. She's more than doubled their second place point getter. She's does it all for them, and someone you're really going to have to pay attention to.
Yeah, we'll certainly, she'll certainly be on our scouting report as someone to, we got to keep in check, and somebody that, she's very dynamic, and, it's going to take a team offense, a team defense to, even for one individual. That's not the only person that's helping their offense. So I think we will obviously need to be sure that we're focused on her and limiting her opportunities without opening up too much elsewhere. So that'll be important.
Drexel's averaging 15 goals against this season. Their goalie's really been struggling. Defensive play's been struggling. Is this a game coming off of that Yale game where you only scored 9 goals? Mm-hmm. Is this a team where you can try to ratchet things back up and get back on the right track offensively? Not to say that you weren't on the right track at Yale.
Yeah. Well, again, and I think, putting up 9 goals, you could look at it for what it's worth. But again, I think Yale, they had a great defensive game plan. I think they were, a skilled team. And, I think that's good preparation for us to see some tough matchups. And it also, I think a big part of that we didn't talk too much about is the draws. That's an area that we need to step up, both from our last 2 games. And, I will mention the last 2 draw specialists we've come up against have definitely been outstanding players. So that's been a great test for us, but we've just got to find a way to do a better job so that we're not playing defense before we're getting to offense. And I think that's where you're going to see, the numbers go up for us in terms of goal output is when we're having more success on the draws too. So that's going to be a big focus for us this week.
All right, you beat me to the question, so I won't even have to ask you to it.
Okay. All right, doing your job for you.
I don't mind at all. The Tigers and Dragons will hit the field at Drexel at 6 o'clock. I'll have the call on TowsonTigers.com starting at 5:45. For head coach Sonia LaMonica, I'm Ben Rosenbaum. Thanks for joining us, and as always, go Tigers.